The room crackles with tension inside a dusty courtroom, where a black woman in a plain sweater stands before a judge's bench, her head high, her eyes sharp, facing a fine she doesn't deserve. Her name's Maya Evans, 38, brilliant, a legal mastermind hiding behind a humble disguise, but right now she's just a target in the crosshairs of a racist system. Across from her towers Judge Walter Crane, 60, stern, white-haired, his gavel poised like a weapon, a smirk twisting his lips as he prepares to slap her down with a penalty born of prejudice. He sees a nobody, a black face he can punish for daring to exist, and he's already laughing inside, ready to flex his power. But in the next hour you're about to see a story so fierce, so electric, it'll burn through your veins, a tale where injustice swings its fist, only to get knocked flat by a black woman's genius, a secret she's about to unleash like a storm. This isn't just a fine or a fight. This is a war, a triumph that'll make you shout and shake the ground beneath you. Welcome to Black Triumph Stories. Buckle up because we're diving into the fire right now. It's a muggy morning in Montgomery, Alabama, the kind where the humidity wraps around you like a wet blanket. Thick and unrelenting, the sun barely cutting through a haze of gray clouds hanging low over the city. The streets hum with the usual rhythm, cars rolling slow, horns blaring now and then, people shuffling along sidewalks slick with last night's rain. But inside the Montgomery County Courthouse, the air feels heavier, stagnant, trapped in time. The building's old, its brick facade chipped and weathered, its halls lined with portraits of stern white men in robes, their eyes following you like ghosts of a past that never really left. Inside courtroom 3B, the scene's no different. The wooden benches are scuffed and creaky, filled with a thin crowd of onlookers. A few locals fanning themselves with court pamphlets, a couple of bored clerks tapping at phones, and one reporter, a young woman with a notepad, her pen poised like she's waiting for something worth writing. The air conditioning wheezes, barely keeping up, and the faint buzz of fluorescent lights overhead adds a layer of irritation to the already stifling room. At the front, standing before the defendant's table, is Maya Evans, 38 years old, petite but commanding, her frame wrapped in a plain gray sweater and faded jeans, her hair pulled back in a simple ponytail that sways slightly as she shifts her weight. Her dark eyes glint with a quiet intensity, a spark that betrays the calm she's wearing like a mask, and her hands rest steady at her sides, clutching a worn leather satchel that looks like it's seen better days. She's here for something small, a traffic ticket, a $150 fine, for allegedly running a stop sign on a quiet street 2 weeks ago. It's the kind of thing most people pay and forget, but Maya's not most people. She's not here to bow or beg. She's here to fight, though no one knows it yet. Her life's a story of grit and shadow, raised in a cramped apartment on the west side, where the rent was late more often than not, where her mother stitched clothes by lamplight to keep food on the table. Maya was the kid who read law books under the covers with a flashlight, who aced every test in a school that didn't care, who clawed her way to a law degree from Howard University on scholarships and sheer will. She's a genius attorney now, a rising star at a firm in Atlanta, but today she's disguised as just another face in the crowd, testing a system she's spent her life studying, a system she knows is rotten at its core. Across the room, behind the towering bench, sits Judge Walter Crane, 60 years old, lean and stern. His white hair cropped close, his face a hard slab of angles softened only by the faint lines of age. His black robes drape over him like a shroud, but his posture's rigid, his hands resting on the bench with the gavel close, a tool he wields like an extension of his will. Crane's a fixture here, 25 years on this bench, a man who runs his courtroom like a fiefdom, his rulings swift, his patience thin, his biases worn like a badge he doesn't bother to hide. He's the kind who fines black drivers twice as often as white ones, who hands down harsher penalties to names he can't pronounce, who sees his role as keeping order, an order that's always favored people who look like him. Today, he's in his element, peering down at Maya through wire-rimmed glasses, his lips already curling into a smirk, his mind made up before she's even opened her mouth. This is routine for him. A black woman, a minor ticket, a quick fine to pad the county's coffers and send her on her way humbled. The bailiff steps forward, a burly man with a shaved head and a voice like gravel, calling the room to order case number 4729, Maya Evans, traffic violation, failure to stop at a stop sign. The crowd shifts, a few heads turning, but most stay half asleep, expecting nothing more than a formality. Maya steps up, her satchel slung over her shoulder, her expression neutral but her eyes alive, scanning the room, Crane, the bailiff, the clerk typing away at her desk. She knows what's coming. She's seen it before, lived it, studied it. This isn't just about a ticket. It's about a judge who'll see her skin and decide her guilt, a system that's never given her the benefit of the doubt. Crane adjusts his glasses, peering at the file, then at her, his smirk widening as he leans forward. Maya Evans, he says, his voice a slow drawl, thick with condescension. You're here for running a stop sign, pretty simple stuff. You got anything to say before I fine you and move on? The room waits, the reporter's pen hovering, and Maya nods once, her voice calm, measured. Yes, Your Honor, she says. I'd like to contest this. Crane chuckles, a low, dismissive sound, and the fight begins. The courtroom hums with a low buzz as Judge Walter Crane leans back in his chair, his gavel tapping the bench like a metronome, his smirk stretching wider at Maya Evans' words. Contest it, he says, his voice dripping with mockery, his southern drawl rolling out slow and thick, each syllable a jab. You think you've got some kind of case here, Miss Evans? This ain't a debate club. It's my courtroom. And I've seen enough to know what happened. The crowd stirs, a ripple of murmurs spreading, some amused, some curious, a few rolling their eyes at the judge's tone. The reporter in the back scribbles faster, her pen digging into the notepad, sensing the spark of something brewing. Maya stands steady, her plain sweater and jeans a stark contrast to Crane's robes, her satchel still slung over her shoulder, her hands resting calm at her sides. Your Honor, she says, her voice clear, even, slicing through his laughter. I'd like to present my defense. I wasn't at fault, and I can prove it. Crane's chuckle turns into a full laugh now, sharp and barking, echoing off the wood-paneled walls. Prove it, he says, leaning forward, his pale eyes glinting behind his glasses. Honey, you're wasting my time and yours. Pay the $150. Take your lesson, and get out of here. The room tightens. The honey's lands like a slap, a casual jab laced with condescension, and the crowd feels it. A few heads shaking, a few smirks matching Crane's. The bailiff shifts his weight, arms crossed, watching Maya with a bored stare, while the clerk keeps typing, her fingers a steady rhythm against the quiet. Maya doesn't flinch, her eyes lock onto Crane, steady, unyielding, a quiet fire simmering beneath her calm. I'm not here to waste time, Your Honor, she says, her tone firming up, a thread of steel weaving through it. I'm here for justice, and I'll show you the facts if you'll let me. Crane waves a hand, dismissive, his smirk unshaken. Go ahead then, he says, leaning back again, arms folding like he's settling in for a comedy show. Let's hear this little story of yours. I could use a laugh today. Maya nods once, stepping forward, her satchel swinging slightly as she reaches inside and pulls out a thin stack of papers. Folded receipts, a notepad, a printout with tight, neat text. She lays them on the table, deliberate, letting the crowd see, letting Crane feel the weight of what's coming, though he doesn't know it yet. On June 22nd at 8:47 a.m. she begins, her voice rising to carry. I was driving down Carver Street, 30 miles an hour, under the limit. No rush, no hurry. I approached the stop sign at the corner of Elm, stopped fully 3 seconds, like the law says, and then proceeded. There was no violation. Crane snorts, cutting her off, his gavel tapping again. That's real cute, he says. but the officer says different. Ticket says you rolled right through. Got a witness right here in blue who saw you. He nods to the side where Officer Travis Reed stands, a stocky white man in a crisp uniform, his arms crossed, his jaw set, his eyes flicking to Maya with a mix of boredom and disdain. Reed steps forward when Crane gestures, swearing in with a quick hand on the Bible, his voice flat as he recites the story. I was parked on Elm, saw her car, black sedan, approach the stop sign. She didn't stop, just slowed a bit and kept going. Wrote her up for it, plain and simple. The crowd nods along, some convinced, some skeptical, but Crane's grin widens, his gavel tapping once more. There you go, he says, turning to Maya. Officer Reed's got no reason to lie. You've got a ticket, and now you've got a fine. $150, payable today. Next case. The reporter scribbles, the clerk types, and the room starts to shift, ready to move on. But Maya doesn't budge. She stands there, her papers in hand, her voice cutting through the shuffle. Not so fast, Your Honor, she says, her tone sharp now, commanding attention. I'd like to question the witness. Crane's smirk falters for a heartbeat, a flicker of irritation crossing his face, but he waves a hand again, lazy, mocking. Fine, fine. Go ahead, Miss Evans. Ask your little questions. Won't change a thing. Maya turns to Reed, her eyes narrowing, her posture shifting. Subtle, but there's a weight to it now. A presence the room can't ignore. Officer Reed. She starts, her voice steady, precise. You say you saw me roll through the stop sign. Where exactly were you parked? Reed blinks, caught off guard, his hands shifting at his sides. On Elm. Like I said, right by the corner, maybe 20 feet back. Maya nods, slow, deliberate, letting his words hang. 20 feet, she repeats, then pulls a photo from her stack, a grainy shot of the intersection, time-stamped, clear. This is from a traffic cam at Carver and Elm, same day, same time, shows your cruiser parked, not 20 feet back, but 50 yards down. Elm, behind a row of trees. No clear line of sight to the stop sign. The room stirs, heads turn, whispers swell, the reporter's pen flying now. Reed's jaw tightens, his eyes darting to Crane, but Maya keeps going, relentless. So how'd you see me roll through, officer? Through the trees, around the corner? Or did you just assume because I was the only black driver on that street that morning? Crane slams his gavel, the sound sharp, his voice rising. That's enough. You don't get to accuse an officer in my court. But Maya doesn't back down. She pulls another paper, a log, holding it up. This is your dashcam log, Officer Reed. Shows you didn't activate it until after you pulled me over. No footage of the stop sign, no proof, just your word against mine. And I've got more. Crane's face reddens, his gavel tapping faster, his control slipping. You're out of line, Miss Evans, he snaps. But she's not done. Her voice rises, a tide crashing over his bluster. I've got the truth, Your Honor, and you're going to hear it, whether you like it or not. The crowd leans in, the tension coiling tight because Maya's not just contesting a ticket. She's exposing a lie, and Crane's starting to sweat. The courtroom air turns thick, heavy with a charge that hums like static before a storm. Every eye locked on Maya Evans as she stands at the defendant's table. Her plain sweater now a cloak of defiance, her papers spread out like a battle map. Judge Walter Crane grips his gavel, his knuckles white, his face a mask of fury barely holding back the cracks, his smirk gone, replaced by a snarl as he glares down at her. The crowd's murmurs hush, the reporter's pen hovers, the bailiff shifts uneasily, and Officer Reed stands frozen, his uniform suddenly too tight, his story unraveling under Maya's steady gaze. She's got one move left, one shot to turn this fight upside down, and she takes it, her voice cutting through the silence like a blade through silk. Your Honor, she says, her tone calm but unyielding, a rock against the tide. I'd like to submit evidence under Alabama Code 1221-137, my right to present a defense, my right to challenge this ticket with facts you can't dismiss. Crane's eyes narrow, his breath hitching, his gavel twitching in his hand. What's this now? He snaps, leaning forward, his voice a growl. "You think you can throw codes at me, Miss Evans? I run this court, not you." Maya doesn't blink. She pulls a crisp printout from her satchel, the statute bold and clear, and reads aloud, slow, deliberate, letting every word sink in. "A defendant may offer evidence to contradict testimony and ensure due process," she says, her voice rising to carry, filling the room, reaching the crowd, the reporter, the clerk who stopped typing to listen. "I've got proof. Proof you can't laugh off. Proof that'll show this fine's a sham." Crane slams his gavel, the crack echoing, his face flushing red. "This is a waste of time," he roars. But Maya's already moving, pulling a USB drive from her bag, holding it up like a torch. "This is traffic cam footage from Carver and Elm," she says, her voice steady, commanding. "Not just the still, full video, time-stamped, showing I stopped at that sign, clear as day." The room gasps, heads snap up, whispers explode. The reporter leaps to her feet, scribbling wildly. Crane's gavel hits again, harder, his voice rising. "You can't just bring that in here." But Maya cuts through, relentless. "I filed it with the clerk yesterday. Check the record, Your Honor. It's legal, admissible, and it proves Officer Reed didn't see what he claims." Reed stammers, his hands clenching. That's not." But Maya rolls on, turning to the crowd now, her voice a clarion call. "And there's more witness statements from 2 residents on Elm, notarized, saying they saw me stop, saw Reed pull out late, saw him ticket me without cause. I've got their affidavits right here." She lays them out, one by one, the papers fanning across the table, each a nail in the coffin of Crane's smug control. Crane's face twists, his breath ragged, his gavel limp now, useless against the tide. "This is outrageous," he shouts. But Maya steps forward, her presence towering despite her small frame, her voice a thunderclap. "And here's the real twist, Your Honor. I'm not just Maya Evans, ticketed driver. I'm Maya Evans, Esquire, attorney at law, licensed in Alabama, Georgia, and the federal bar, with 10 years fighting cases just like this." The room erupts, gasps, shouts. The crowd surging to its feet, the reporter snapping photos, the bailiff's jaw dropping. Crane freezes, his eyes wide, his mouth open, the color draining from his face as Maya pulls her bar card from her satchel, holding it high, gold lettering glinting in the light. "I took this case myself," she says, her voice ringing, "to test this court, to see if justice bends for a black woman or breaks under your bias, and you failed, Your Honor." Ellis, the court clerk, fumbles papers, his voice weak. "Objection, she can't." But it's drowned out, lost in the chaos. Crane slams his gavel again, frantic now. "Order, order." But the crowd's beyond him, cheering, clapping, a wave of sound crashing over his fading power. Maya stands tall, her sweater a badge of her disguise, her eyes locked on Crane, burning through him. "You find me because of who I am, not what I did," she says, her voice a blade. "But I'm not here to pay. I'm here to fight." And under Brady v. Maryland, 1963, you have to hear this evidence, deny it, and you're the one breaking the law. The twist lands like a bomb. Crane stunned, speechless, his hands shaking, his bench a crumbling throne. Reed slumps, his story shattered, and the crowd roars, the truth slicing through the racism like lightning through the dark. Maya's not just a driver, she's a genius, a warrior, and Crane's world is falling apart. An hour later, the gavel falls. A weak, defeated thud, and Judge Walter Crane mutters the words through gritted teeth. Ticket dismissed. Maya Evans walks free, her head high, her satchel slung over her shoulder, the courtroom still ringing with the echo of her victory, a sound that follows her out into the Montgomery heat. Crane sits slumped, his white hair disheveled, his stern face a mask of shock and rage, his smirk gone, replaced by a scowl that twists his features into something small, something broken. He's been outsmarted, exposed, humbled by a black woman he tried to bury under a $150 fine, a woman he never saw coming. The crowd spills outside, a flood of voices, locals shouting her name, the reporters snapping photos, her phone already buzzing with calls from editors hungry for the scoop. Maya steps into the sunlight, her plain sweater catching the breeze, and takes a deep breath, the weight of the fight lifting, replaced by a quiet pride. The traffic cam footage hits the news that night. Millions watch it loop. Maya's car stopping clean at the sign, Reed's cruiser pulling out late, the lie laid bare. The clip explodes. 5 million views, 10, 15. A viral firestorm that spreads from Alabama to the coasts, a testament to a black woman's brilliance tearing through a racist judge's reign. Maya's not stopping. She's filing a misconduct complaint against Crane, a thick dossier of evidence, years of skewed rulings, harsher fines for black defendants, a pattern of bias that stained his bench like ink. The affidavits pile up, the Bar Association takes notice, and whispers say Crane's days are numbered, his career teetering on the edge of ruin. Officer Reed faces scrutiny too, his dashcam logs questioned, his story debunked, a reprimand looming as the department scrambles to save face. Maya's name rises, a star, a symbol, a flame for every black soul told they don't belong in these halls of power. She's back in Atlanta by week's end, her firm buzzing with the news, her desk piled with case files. But this fight, this one's personal. She's not just an attorney, she's a warrior who turned their rules into her victory, who took their fines and threw them back with justice. The phone rings, TV interviews, speaking gigs, clients who see her as a champion, and she answers now, her voice steady, her mission clear. She's not done exposing the cracks, not done fighting for the Mayas who don't have her disguise, her degree, her voice. That night she sits on her balcony, the city lights sprawling below, a glass of wine in hand, and thinks of her mother, her grandmother, the women who carried her here. This wins for them, for every black woman fined, dismissed, silenced. Crane's bench feels hollow now. Locals avoid his courtroom. The reporter's story runs front page, a headline screaming judge fined black woman, lost to her genius. His laughter's a memory, a ghost haunting his robes, a sound that's turned against him. The courthouse shifts. Clerks whisper, judges glance sideways, a crack in the old order widening with every share, every view. Maya's triumph isn't just hers. It's a spark igniting fires across the country, a call to every black voice to rise, to fight, to win. The video's comments flood, stories of tickets, fines, judges like Crane, and they see themselves in Maya, see hope, see power. This is black triumph, raw, fierce, unshakable, a roar that echoes beyond Montgomery, beyond one fine, into every heart that's ever been told it can't. If this story shakes you, if it lights a fire in you, smash that like, subscribe, ring the bell, keep it alive. Tell us, have you faced a Crane? Have you fought and won? Drop it below. Let's roar together. This is Black Triumph Stories. We're here to wield the truth, to make it thunder, every single time.